Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And still Lieutenant Cockings. But it's still... I'm putting the effort in, guys. It's fine. I'll take demotion for the epic edited special.
Makes me want to go in the next room and get mine, but I'm not going to because no. Anyway, welcome to our spoiler-filled review. There's a lot to talk about with this episode, so...
And I have a bit to do, that's why I'm also in uniform, because this episode, I think, can be well summarised by...
Oh, nice.
There you go.
That was the payoff for that whole getting changed. Wow.
There we go. He did it. I did it. We did it.
I feel so fulfilled.
So Stuart, what did you think of episode 2 of Star Trek Picard season 1? In a spoiler-filled way.
It was good. Lots of reveals. A lot of even some internal Starfleet stuff. We got a Commodore now again. I think they might have changed their command colors to gold again by the looks of it. Possibly, because the Commodore is in gold. But yeah, we get Admiral scene, which is great. We get a lot of great stuff in this. And we start learning more about the reclamation facility. And there's just a lot of great content in this one. And I didn't enjoy it quite as much as the first one for some reason.
Can you elaborate why?
I'm kind of sick of the clandestine shit. Like, I'm not looking forward to... So the Romulans are just like, hey, you can never trust a Romulan. Why can't they change? Like, we saw Nemesis, you have friends within the Romulan Empire, but then you got the Tal Shiar, and then you got this secret organization on top of that, which...
Well, I mean, same with Discovery, it's kind of the Cliff Notes Trek. You understand certain things, but you don't go in and... there's even some canon distinct, like... They've gone against canon in this episode against the old stuff, which were explicitly said, with Romulans as well.
There are a few errors in this one, both canon-wise, and... also a flub with some rank pips. Watch the Lieutenant's rank pips in the final scene, guys. They're magnetic, and it shows.
Yeah. Would you agree this one's very tonally different to the last one? Like, it feels very different?
Yes, that's kind of one of the reasons I don't think I enjoyed it quite as much, because it did have that spy movie kind of vibe to it, like the intrigue and stuff. I'm not really big into those spy movies, so it was kind of like, for me. I did appreciate the fact that the reveals kind of came quick, though. It's not like we were wondering what this character's up to for like 3 or 4 episodes. It's very much like, what's this character up to? Oh, there's the answer. Sweet.
It definitely makes you wonder, like, how much of the overall plot is so, like, hidden. Because a lot of stuff was also hinted in trailers, so we're already very far into theoretically the plot. So there's going to be maybe a massive, like, Discovery Season 1, like, the universe is a complete shift. Like, it's not the main plot, that's the real plot. So this might have the real plot. They keep throwing so many things in, it's hard to tell.
What are your thoughts on this episode overall?
So I came out of it being very much like, it even feels like a middle chapter within a pilot. It's kind of like, okay, cool. But I think I enjoyed this one more than last week. There wasn't that focus on meaningless action. And there wasn't such a... Because when Daj... Well, when Daj died in episode 1, it kind of makes all of her development semi-pointless, in a sense. All the stuff you learn, those are wasted lines of dialogue, in a sense. This episode, everything felt meaty and there's a lot more canon stuff, a lot more Trek stuff, a lot more Trek environments, a lot more politics stuff, and a lot more answers. So I think I enjoyed it because it felt like a much more full world. It wasn't just Picard on his chateau and then the Daj stuff and then a little bit else. It was much more full, almost too full. But I enjoyed it more. I liked some of the answers. I definitely think Patrick Stewart was better at acting in this one too, because he wasn't just saying what, who, and being sad. So I thought he was much more on point.
It is good to see Picard back, as you said, being more Picardish. The first one he was a little, down in the dumps, and this one he's got his energy back. He wants to go out and
it feels
get
different.
Answers.
He does better in this one, but I think the sleuth scene was really the scene for the Romulan lady who excels in this episode. I mean, she really comes to the foreground as at least a fun character to watch. She's way too Irish, which I didn't even notice until someone pointed out, because that's just one of our accents, whatever. But I mean, certainly I think that the cast, they did a good job. Remember I said last week how the guy at the end didn't like his acting. This one really turned it around for me, because he didn't play that sort of and exposition for no reason. Like, he was much better written in this one. And boy, the little mini reveal of him was like, ooh. And then that second reveal was like, oh. So I thought they really, like... This was a very full episode, and I think they did a pretty good job with it.
And two swears in this one, guys.
Too many.
The first one was almost all right.
The Romulan one, yeah?
Yeah. It felt more
I didn't
natural.
notice it, even. Like, that was kind of just a... Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's just cheeky effers. And a lot of people thought she said feckers because she's Irish, but if you watch the subtitles, it's fuckers. Anyway, and then the Admiral, of course. And the Admiral's really kind of... was out of place considering what we know about swearing in the future from Star Trek 4.
Yep.
But
Well, they haven't watched Star Trek 4, the producers.
No. They were trying to drive the point home that she's very upset about Picard's situation. And the look on his face, the acting in that scene, that is the best scene in this whole episode for me. Because the acting from Patrick Stewart is spot on. It's a little unnecessary. It's written that's one of the issues I have with this one. The dialogue is written very modern. Like, let's hit our comm badge and say, "Don't hang up." Who the hell uses the term hang up even now? It's like disconnect the call. You know, it's not, especially in the future. You're not going to hit a comm badge and say, "Don't hang up."
Would you also agree that the dialogue was kind of heavy-handed?
Yes.
While good, it's not subtle. I mean, there's ways of saying "f you" without saying "f you" that are smarter, cleverer. Just saying this show is sort of a brute force show. I think that this one certainly shows that. It's not the most intelligently written. I didn't think it was badly written. I thought it was relatively good. Just it wouldn't win any awards for writing. You know?
Yeah. I still think it was good.
Better than Discovery writing.
Yes.
But that's not that hard to do. It helps not have massive plot holes. That really helps. I don't have to explain bad plot holes. The Admiral scene I want to talk about briefly because I agree it was a good scene, but it's one of those things that it rubbed me the wrong way in many ways, but I think that's obviously the point. But as soon as I saw that, because some people were saying how the Federation has gone really bad, really negative, blah, blah, blah. But after seeing that scene, my takeaway is that it's not the Federation, it's certain admirals who are in charge went a certain way. Once they get ousted, we can all return to the proper reality that the Federation should be. It's only not utopian because certain admirals are being a bit bad, and she is not a good admiral. And that's why she comes across as really like, oh God, Admiral, calm down.
But at the same time, she feels like she's justified in her anger because of what Picard did, left Starfleet, and then basically ousted them on Intergalactic TV a few days ago.
But we're also utopian and we're future and...
I know. But then later with the scene with the Commodore, the Admiral has no clue what the hell is going on as far as the clandestine stuff. So she's...
Just
you kind of feel bad for her in a way because Picard warned her. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" So, I mean, she's going to get her comeuppance, which is cool. But you kind of feel bad for her in a way because she is kind of justified in her thoughts about Picard based on, from a Starfleet point of view, from an authority figure point of view. I kind of get it.
Yes, although we don't know that full story yet. I got the feeling she was out for him already. Like, they've been butting heads for decades. So it that was fully personal. That wasn't professional. He really should have gone to a different admiral. Why couldn't he go to Admiral Janeway? She'd be much more sympathetic.
Well, she was the CNC. She's the commander-in-chief. He's the one that he has to get the permission from.
And do you know what I mean? She's the wrong admiral in charge. It's like, it reminds me of two admirals in particular from Trek, because the Starfleet is meant to be this utopian, positive view, but certain forces can push it in one way. Look at Admiral, for Insurrection, Admiral Dowdy, right? He helped corrupt part of the ideals to do bad things. Now, that's not Federation being bad, that's the people manoeuvring. And you consider him a bad admiral in a very similar way. And Admiral Ross from DS9, he was in bed with Section 31, did bad things for potentially the right reason, but the wrong reason as well. So those are both bad admirals who are betraying everything they believe in. And I think she's kind of similar. And I hated her argument about 17 member worlds threatened to leave. It's like, excuse me, it's like 1,000 worlds. 17 is a percent. That's the mega ultra vocal minority, but it's not like 100 worlds. It's like and they're not going to be like Andor and Teller. They're going to be such small worlds. And do you remember in Insurrection they specifically call out that they're desperately trying to get member worlds in? So I guarantee in the Dominion War they got like 50, 80, 100 new worlds in the Federation. So if they left, who the hell cares? So I thought that rationale was totally broken. If it was like Andor and Tella and the big ones, but 17 is nothing, and those are the ones that are clearly on the Romulan border that are pre-prejudice. It's like, okay, good luck. Go then. The rest of us 980 member worlds will help save them. So I thought that was an awful argument and shows a slight misunderstanding of the scale of the Federation. It felt more like, states in America or boroughs in the UK. Well, a slight percentage said yes, and we'll go to the massively small minority. But it's like, it's such a small percentage of people.
Well, that goes to the problem with Picard that people have been mentioning. It's mirroring today's world, today's political landscape, and it very much is reminiscent of, oh, I want to go attack this country. Well, the other, like a bunch of other countries in the UN don't agree with you. They're going to embargo you. They're going to do whatever. So it's that kind of feel for me, and it doesn't really work in this context, I don't think, personally. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. But it would be interesting to find out which worlds, though, because if it was Tellar or somebody that's got a massive shipyard or somebody that can really help you out, especially after the Dominion War, you're going to go, well, okay, if they're going to pull out, we're losing a huge resource there. But yeah, we need to find out more about that situation. It seemed kind of weird to me as well.
Just like with last week, there's going to be more here at play with why and how, because it's such a small percentage of people. You can't just listen to the vocal 1%. The Federation's a massive conglomerate of people that are wonderful. The vocal 1% are not in the correct majority. That's not.
Welcome to YouTube comments.
Welcome to YouTube.
It's
well
the
said.
It's the vocal minority that are the ones that get noticed.
Like, she's representing all the bad things, but they gave me hope that once we get her out of the show, she's one of the reasons that the Federation's gone so bad. Because if she's the CNC and she's this bad direction, it doesn't take many to go in a bad direction.
I think also she's going to turn around by the end of this season, maybe, and actually help Picard, because she's going to realize that there was shit going on behind her back, and he tried to warn her, and maybe there'll be some reconciliation there. That'd be kind of nice to redeem the character, I think.
Similar vein. But speaking of then, swapping now to the Commodore, we got introduction and reveal the other character, all in the same scene, which I thought was a great scene, except for the excessive lens flare, which was like, clearly JJ walked on set that day and said, lens flare, all of it, because it was like, holy shit. But I thought it was a really good scene. Someone said to me it was quite melodramatic, but I mean, think about who's in the scene. It kind of makes sense.
I wasn't the hugest fan of it, honestly. I'm glad the reveals came kind of quick and steady there, because I hate waiting for that kind of shit, especially in like a spy movie or whatever, and that's kind of the feeling that I got from this. So I'm glad it was revealed quick. I love how they try to trick you thinking the Commodore, is a Vulcan, because they pan up over her desk and you see a box that has the IDIC symbol on it. It's like, are you trying to convince us she's a Vulcan? Because
I still got the sense she was, given her acting. Her acting was not Romulan-y, and they do explicitly say that she's an ally. She's an ally in the Federation, and I doubt there's a Romulan admiral out. So I got she was a Vulcan admiral, but that she's an ally to the Romulans because you're allowed to do that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure she's a Romulan.
Really? From the acting?
Yeah, from the acting and from also the Ready Room. They were talking about Romulan makeup specifically, and they showed her as an example.
Wow.
So
she didn't have a forehead though. She just had eyes.
Doesn't matter.
Well, we'll see.
She's a Romulan, I'm pretty sure of it. Anyway.
And I'm pretty sure she's a Vulcan. There we go.
And I love how they try to play with your expectations there a little bit, because the other Lieutenant Finney or whatever walks in, and the Commodore is looking at the screens, and she goes, "Does that look like a disruptor blast reflection in that post to you?"
I like that.
Like she's actually looking into it, and she's like, "Not to me." And then it turns around and you failed your mission. You almost blew our cover. You've got to learn about being undercover and covert. You killed the thing before we could interrogate it. It's like, wow. It went from like she's actually looking into it to, oh no, she's not. And I loved the quickness of that.
Yep. So. It deepens the story. Like this one gave us a massively broadened foundation, because it goes from being Federation is corrupt to admirals are corrupt to admirals working with Romans to, oh, actually the Romans are working anyway, irrespective of it layers it down, but it does kind of streamline a few things. And I did sort of recognize the other lieutenant. I can't remember where I know her from. Oh, from the trailers as a Romulan. And that was cool. Although then we got, Stuart, the return of real-time 3D holograms across the galaxy.
I have no problem with it. No problem with it in this time zone. I honestly don't. So.
And I kind of thought it was just Romulan tech anyway, because why would you use Federation tech? You'd just use your own Romulan tech to your own Romulan base. You wouldn't use Federation tech. So I thought they would have it anyway.
First off, the Zat Vash, the ancient Tal Shiar thing.
I'm so mixed on that.
Yeah, it bothered me a little bit because it's like, oh, the Tal Shiar, the big baddies. Oh no, of course there's got to be one better or badder.
We've got Super Borg too, because we're the new show. Super Borg!
Exactly. I like the investigation, the way they scrubbed the evidence. It proves that Picard wasn't imagining things, which is great. So our one video is already like in the dumpster. But that's okay.
But also it didn't make that scene easy, which I liked.
Yes.
I liked the fact they came up with a brick wall. Sort of, mostly.
Yeah.
That was nice.
So it'd be interesting to find out more about them. The problem that I have with it is they're like, oh, well, there's no AI on Romulus. We have no cyberneticists. We don't have any robots. We don't have any androids. And yet we just finished watching Defector, where he says, you're the android, aren't you? I know a host of Romulan cyberneticists that would love to be this close to you. Data says, I don't think that's I don't think I would enjoy that. He goes, you shouldn't. So right away, there's a canon-breaking thing that really is kind of major, in my opinion, because you would think that the Romulans would be looking into robotics and
remember,
cybernetics.
He was an admiral.
Yeah, yes, he was.
So it's not like he was a low lieutenant didn't know. Like, he was a secret admiral. So that's one of the first like big actual canon violations, because they were saying thousands of years. It wasn't like in the last 20 years. It was like forever and always, which also is interesting because it gives us a thousands of years of tech feel, which if they've been capable for thousands of years, do they really just invent the TOS ship then? That little ditzy ship with
the thing that I've heard speculation and theories, because I did my first reaction video, and somebody's saying, well, because this organization is 1,000 years old or whatever or more, could it be that the reason they're not into cybernetics and stuff and so anti it is because they tried experimenting with it once and created the Borg? So the Romulans are responsible. I know. The Romulans are responsible for the Borg, and that's why they're no longer into cybernetics. That's why they're also at the reclamation site working on the Borg now.
I kind of got the sense though that these special secret Romulan people, they're so secret, and it was so whispered. Like these two people were Tal Shiar, right? And good Tal Shiar agents. So one didn't believe they were true, one did. So most people don't know they exist. Just like Section 31 doesn't control the Federation, it does things in the Federation. So the Tal Shiar isn't any less powerful now because most of them don't even know they exist. It's so secret, it's like... I thought of it as like a cult almost, where they just do things, but they're not like running anything. Okay, maybe the Praetor knows, and it takes one to control one, but it's not like they're not like active force. And if their entire point of existing is to stop androids, which seems really dumb to me because there's more important things than androids and than synthetics. Is like anything else. I mean, to summarize their entire culture into the most secret group of Romulans hate androids. Right. Okay. Really, you're gonna put all of your hat on that point. Felt like a massively retcon, and also the exposition scene was kind of fumbled. I thought it was just a lot of Picard saying, "Who are they? What is that?" and her presenting it like rumor, even though the audience they were telling us to the audience as if it's real, like fully fact. But it was just like, well, if it's that secret, how do you suddenly know all the information without any... Like, it would have been nicer if she knew, like, super sporadic information, but for her to know the entire point of them... Hopefully that's not the entire point, otherwise it's really easy.
Before we get to the Borg, there's one quick thing we should talk about first. And that's the opening where we find 14 years earlier what happened at Mars, Utopica Planitia, which was great. I loved that it was F8, Fate. Gotta love it. And the fact that it all was done from the inside. They turned the orbital defense system against the planet. It's like, okay, now the whole attack makes sense. They didn't have to come in with ships, and because we asked why wasn't the orbital defense platforms taking out the ships. Makes perfect sense now. So I thought that scene was great.
And in fact, the fighters could actually be attacking the orbital defense control nodes.
Could have been, yeah.
Because if you can't shut it off and they're zapping the planet, then destroy the power systems. Maybe the starbase is the network that connects them all. No, I like that scene a lot. I hated the 3D printer replicator that was just the worst art design in the history of
It was literally
Picard.
a 3D printer you can go out and buy today.
It was such a bad choice. My
Yes.
God. But
Yes.
the androids were very well done. I thought the guy's performance was excellent. He really, he probably talked to Brent, because I didn't think they'd be literally Brent Spiner, like, clones. Like, it felt very, very the same, and I really liked that. Actually, it was quite nice. But that scene was good, although it was, the best bit was when he was hacked. Because I told you, I knew this wasn't as simple as it was. Like, androids weren't themselves bad, someone else did it, it was all a plan. And that made that much better to me. That it wasn't their fault, it wasn't whatever. It's all part of a big plan. Boom. Cool. Easy.
On to the Borg. I have a theory.
Oh. Did you enjoy the Borg stuff?
It was all right. Wasn't enough of it, so I can't really say
Well.
it, but it was interesting.
I did, and I was right about the Borg tech. Can I just say I was right about that straight away? I'll go. Yes.
One of the things I want to put out there right now is perhaps the fact that this gray zone that they talk about, where if your badge blinks green, run, and the gray badge is kind of off limits. First of all, I do like the fact that the Borg are still a threat. This is just a cube that's been separated from the Borg.
That's what I said.
I know it is. In our speculation video, I was saying maybe the Borg aren't a threat anymore, so I was wrong. We got this gray area. They call it literally the gray area, which is like so literal. Could it be? Do you think that maybe Maddox is actually working clandestinely in the gray area, experimenting on Borgs and creating synths, and that's why it's kind of off limits right now? Maybe Maddox is actually at the reclamation site.
I think a lot of stuff is going on there. Because the way they phrase it is that there are drones that are still possibly dangerous, sort of, but also not really. I have to rewatch that scene again because it was very interestingly put. And I was I liked it how they did it. I gotta say, the Borg stuff I thought they treated well, and they gave enough reference to, as in reverence, sorry. And I love the fact that they said they had Borg drones in stasis. They staticized the Borg drones to then not be a danger to everyone and then free them. That was great. That was a lovely little touch I hadn't even considered. But it makes sense, actually, if you've got the power. I don't know, I'm intrigued. We'll see more. And I think that was just the right amount of Borg for this episode. Seeing next drone, getting the hints, seeing them not be prisoners. I called that very early on after I started dissecting the trailer. They're not prisoners.
Yeah.
I love the reveal that the young guy is like one of the higher ups of this entire operation. He was obviously put in that position by the other organization, but when she's like, "Oh, you have to ask the higher up if you can join," and he's like,
just as she's not even out of earshot. Actually, I don't. And looks at the camera.
"I am the leader."
And right after he says that, they pan to Earth, and you got your shot, Samuel, that you're complaining about, because you saw Picard's vineyard, but in the distance you saw a city. They saw the big buildings.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that was right after that shot.
Excellent.
And I'm like, Samuel will be happy.
I was happy with a lot of things. This addressed a lot of the canon stuff I was considering, and I was right on a lot of things, which, as you know, I try not to go too far against canon, so when I'm proved right, it's like, okay, a few. They didn't kill all the Borg, they didn't, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, they didn't go too far, good.
And let's call the Borg what they are, the Nameless. Speaking of, in that scene, there's a new Romulan symbol behind Dodge. I don't know if you noticed it. It's red. New Romulan symbol. Anyway.
Apart from sort of just the getting the situation unresolved with Starfleet, there wasn't too much, like, actual... I feel resolved. I feel satisfied. I wasn't satisfied by the end, but I was thoroughly canon intrigued. That's why I think I enjoyed it more than last week, because there wasn't just seeing Picard walk in a vineyard with a dog that means relatively nothing. Instead, we get a scene with two agents on Earth in uniform. You know, lots of tangible stuff. And again, how much plot we're getting is a lot. So I wonder at what point it's going to shift or reveal or slow or, you know. So yeah, that's why I enjoyed it more than last week.
I think that's a good summary of the episode, spoiler-filled. So if we missed anything, put it down in the comments. Talk amongst yourselves. What did you think of our ideas and our thoughts on it? We'd love to hear your ideas as well. And don't forget to tune in tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our full episode review and breakdown.
Epic.
And that's with people like you that come into the chat, they super chat, we read their comments, their theories. It really is an interactive, fun community. So if you guys can make it, please do. It's a great way to help us out. Another great way to help us out is hit the Patreon link down below. Help us on a monthly basis. That is fantastic for the channel, considering YouTube is YouTube, and you know, it's kind of been going downhill as far as ad revenue and stuff goes lately. But if you Patreon is a great way to help out your favorite creators to continue making their content. Just $1, $2, $5, $10 a month is all it takes, and it really makes a huge difference on our end. So if you can help us that way, please do, and don't forget to join the lives and maybe super chat as well during the lives. That's a great way to help us.
You saw how many videos we did in for episode 1. You know, really good topics, good graphics. We want it each week, and with Discovery and with Lower Decks, but we need that support from you guys, because even with a 5,000 view video, it literally is not worth the time we spend on it, but we want to put out for you. You know, we do this for you guys overall, and therefore the lives, that's what gets us the funds to help pay rent, etc. But if you can't afford anything financially, then just liking does actually help the algorithm. Subscribing, and make sure you click that bell notification next to subscribe, because YouTube, again, is a funny old thing, and you've got to do both to actually be alerted. And just join in. Like I said, daily videos and live, so check out and tune in.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Quantum Coggins.
No, you're not. You're a lieutenant.
I am. So I got my badge. Sort of. I'm in Generations era, where I'm both at the same time. Uniforms.
Yeah. Bye, guys. No, don't hang up. Wait a minute. You wouldn't hang up. Never mind. Bye.